The Four Agreements. This is a small and profound book written by Don Miguel Ruiz. It was published in 1997. The book has sold millions of copies worldwide. It's been translated in 46 different languages, and it is a recommended read for navigating life in general. This is the second video in a series exploring all four agreements through the lens of grief. I hope that my humble use of this book will provide you with some guidelines about navigating your own grief or about how to support a griever. Today we're going to look at the wisdom offered in the second agreement in regards to grief. My name is Jo McRogers, and I'm a grief specialist who has spent decades supporting people in their grief through my therapy practice. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so that you'll know every time we post about all things grief. So the second agreement, don't take anything personally. The second agreement states that nothing other people do is about you. All people live in their own minds, in their own dreams. What they say, what they do, and what opinions they offer are according to the agreements that they have made in their own minds with themselves. Through my therapist lens, the second agreement is all about boundaries, which is always challenged in grief. Boundaries are identified as where I start and stop, and where you stop and start. Where we meet or blend is how we take things personally or not. I need to remind myself in my private practice role not to take myself personally. When someone says, "Jo, that was just such shite advice," and I need to remind myself that I can't take it personally either when someone says, "Jo, you're the only one who understands me. You're the best." Both of these statements are about meeting the other person's needs, the other person's agreements. It can be their needs to diminish, or it could be their needs to rescue. The second agreement reminds us that we are never responsible for other people's words or actions. It is not about what was said or what happened. It is about how I experience that. It is about the meaning that I and you assign to the words or the event. Grief is so personal, so don't take anything personal is a massive ask. I recognize that. If you could share in the comments, I would be so curious to know what was the most challenging for you personally when you were grieving. Comment below so we can all learn together. So, don't take anything personally for the griever. When we are grieving, our need for direction, for support, for independence, for validation, for autonomy, vacillate hourly. This makes it impossible for us to know which need needs to be met and when. It makes it impossible for any one person to also meet all of those needs at any given time. This is partly why it is so important to not take things personally. This is the nature of grief. Most people's responses to our grief is about their blueprints. It's about their grief blueprint, their communication style, their need to be in control, their ability to be emotionally available, their ability to be vulnerable, their ability to sit and be present with our vulnerability. So when you hear instructions like pack up their belongings ASAP, when you hear judgment in the words of, "Why would you still have the robe hanging on the back of the bathroom door?" When you hear minimizing, like, "It's time to move on, it's been weeks." When you hear invalidation, such as, "You have other children that you need to care for, be grateful." Know that these statements are far more about the agreements that the speaker has made with themselves. They are not about you. Be careful how you ascribe meaning to those statements or actions. Be careful to assign definitions of, "They mustn't love me," "They don't care enough," or "My grief and loss mustn't be valid." The outcome of this awareness may still mean that your relationships may change. That happens commonly in grief, but If you decide to end or alter any relationship, please do so because that person is no longer a fit for you. Please do not do it from taking their missteps personally. For the supporter, don't take anything personally. The same principles apply when offering support to a griever. Not taking their responses or their lack of responses personally is so important. I offered, she never responded. I kept texting, I never heard back. I know what would be good for them, but they're just not listening to me. The emotional whiplash that the griever is experiencing eliminates their ability to respond as you know them, to respond, to over-respond, to respond at all, or to respond consistently. It isn't about you. Don't take it personally. It actually isn't about you or the relationship. Don't take it personally. Please comment below if you've been confused as a supporter. It's not an easy role to support someone who's grieving. So in this effort of not taking anything personally, I send you kind thoughts, kind words, and a kind heart. If you have found this video helpful, please like it with a thumbs up. Please share it with someone, and then YouTube will know to share it widely for those seeking support in the boundaries of their grief. Please be sure to turn on the notifications bell so you'll know when I post my next video in this series where we explore the third agreement that speaks to don't make assumptions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.